My name is Camille, and I'll never forget the moment my brother Derek stood at the door of our family home, my family home, and told me to leave on Christmas Eve. "Pack your things and get out," Derek said, his arms crossed as snow fell behind him. "This house belongs to Vanessa and me now." "What are you talking about?" I asked, my heart pounding. "Mom and Dad left this house to both of us. We both inherited it." "Plans change, little sister," Vanessa said, appearing behind Derek with a smug smile. "We found some documents in the attic. Turns out your parents changed their will before they died. The house is all ours." "That's impossible," I said, stepping back into the living room where our Christmas tree stood. "I have the original will. We split everything 50-50. "Well, we have a newer version," Derek said, pulling out a folder. "Dated 6 months before they passed. It's all legal. Dad's signature, Mom's signature, witnesses, everything." I grabbed the papers, my hands shaking. The document looked official, but something felt wrong. "This doesn't make sense. Why would they cut me out?" "Maybe they finally realized who the responsible child was," Vanessa said, examining her manicured nails. "Derek's been managing this property for 3 years while you've been off doing whatever." "I've been working in Boston," I said. "I send money every month for maintenance. I own half this house." "Not anymore," Derek said. "We're giving you until tomorrow morning. Pack what you can carry and leave your keys on the counter." "It's Christmas Eve," I said, tears welling up. "Where am I supposed to go?" "Not our problem," Vanessa said. "Maybe your Aunt Patricia will take you in. She always did baby you." "Derek, please," I begged. "This is our parents' house, our childhood home. We can talk about this after the holidays." "There's nothing to talk about," Derek said, his voice cold. "We already contacted a real estate attorney. He confirmed the new will is valid. You're trespassing on our property now." "I want to see my copy of the will," I said. "It's in the safe upstairs." "The safe we already opened?" Vanessa laughed. "Funny thing, we couldn't find your copy. Must have gotten lost during one of the moves." My stomach dropped. "You went through my things?" "Our things," Derek corrected. "Everything in this house belongs to us. Now get moving before I call the police." I stared at my brother, barely recognizing him. "What happened to you? Since when did you become this person?" "I became practical," Derek said. "This house is worth $1.2 million. Do you know what Vanessa and I could do with that? We have plans, Camille. Real plans. Not just working some corporate job." "So this is about money," I said quietly. "This is about what we deserve," Vanessa snapped. "Derek's been carrying this family since your parents died. You just show up twice a year and act like you care." "I do care," I said. "This was my home too." "Was," Derek emphasized. "Past tense. Now pack up and get out. We're having Christmas dinner here tomorrow with Vanessa's family, and we don't need any drama." I looked around the living room one last time, at the fireplace where we hung stockings, at the window seat where Mom used to read to us, at the pictures on the mantel. Then I walked upstairs, threw clothes into a suitcase, and called the only person I could trust. "Aunt Patricia, it's Camille. Can I stay with you tonight? I need help." "They did what?" Aunt Patricia nearly dropped her coffee mug the next morning as I sat in her kitchen explaining everything. "Kicked me out," I said. "Claimed they have a new will that leaves everything to Derek." "That's impossible," Patricia said firmly. "Your mother was my sister. She called me 3 weeks before the accident. Said she'd just updated her will to make sure you and Derek were treated equally. She was worried about Vanessa's influence on him. I leaned forward. She said that? Word for word, Patricia confirmed. Your mother loved you both, but she saw how Vanessa pushed Derek toward money. She wanted to protect you both. Do you know who their attorney was? I asked. Robert Chen, Patricia said. Downtown office. I have his number somewhere. Your parents trusted him completely. Within an hour, we were sitting in Robert Chen's office. He was a distinguished man in his 60s, with kind eyes that reminded me of my father. Ms. Camille, Robert said, pulling up files on his computer. I'm so glad you came in. I've been trying to reach you. You have? I asked. Your brother contacted me 2 weeks ago, Robert explained. Claimed he had a newer will. Wanted me to verify it. I told him I couldn't without seeing you first. Did you see the document? I asked. He emailed me a copy, Robert said, turning his monitor toward me. I knew immediately it was fake. My heart raced. How? Several reasons, Robert said, counting on his fingers. First, your parents' signatures don't match our records. Second, the witnesses listed are people who moved out of state before the date on the document. Third, and most importantly, I drafted your parents' will myself. There was never any revision. So Derek forged it? Patricia asked. That would be my assessment, Robert said carefully. The question is proving it. Do you have the original will? Derek claims it's missing, I said. He and Vanessa went through my things. I have a copy, Robert said, printing documents. Every will I draft gets stored in 3 places, with the client, in my office, and with the probate court. Derek can't make them all disappear. What do we do? I asked. We go to the police, Robert said firmly. This is fraud, forgery, and possibly elder abuse if they manipulated your parents before their death. I have a contact at the district attorney's office. Detective Martinez handles estate fraud cases. 2 days later, I sat across from Detective Martinez, a sharp-eyed woman in her 40s who listened intently as I explained everything. Do you still have the forged document? Detective Martinez asked. I took photos before Derek made me leave, I said, showing her my phone. Smart, she said approvingly. And Mr. Chen, you can confirm this isn't legitimate? Absolutely, Robert said. I can provide the original will, documentation of the signatures, and testimony about the timeline. What about access to the property? Detective Martinez asked me. Do you have proof you're a legal owner? Property deed, tax records, my name's on everything, I said, pulling out a folder. I've been paying my share of property taxes since we inherited. Detective Martinez smiled. You've done your homework. Here's what we're going to do. I'll get a warrant to examine the documents Derek claims to have. We'll need handwriting analysis, but based on what I'm seeing, this is clear-cut forgery. How long will this take? I asked. Fraud cases can take months, Detective Martinez said. But we can move faster if Derek makes a mistake. Do you think he'll try to sell the property? Vanessa mentioned they had plans, I said. She was talking about what they'd do with $1.2 million. Then we wait, Detective Martinez said. The moment they try to list that house or transfer the deed, they're committing fraud in real time. That's when we act. What do I do in the meantime? I asked. Patricia squeezed my hand. You stay with me, gather evidence, and trust that justice will catch up with them. They're going to regret kicking you out on Christmas Eve, Robert said. By the time we're done, they'll wish they'd never heard of a forged will. 3 weeks later, my phone rang. It was Detective Martinez. "They took the bait," she said. "Derek just listed the property with a real estate agent. He's trying to sell your house. Can you stop him?" I asked. "Already done," she said. "I've contacted the agent, explained the situation, and served Derek with a warrant. We're executing it this afternoon. Want to be there?" "Absolutely," I said. That evening, I stood outside my family home with Detective Martinez, Robert Chen, and 2 uniformed officers. The doorbell rang and Vanessa answered. "Camille?" She looked shocked. "What are you doing here?" "Police, ma'am," Detective Martinez said, showing her badge. "We have a warrant to search the premises for fraudulent documents related to estate fraud." Derek appeared behind Vanessa. "This is harassment. We own this house." "Actually, you don't," Robert said calmly. "I have the original will right here. Your sister owns 50% of this property, and you've been illegally occupying it." "We have documents," Derek shouted. "Forged documents," Detective Martinez corrected. "We had them analyzed. The signatures don't match. The witnesses don't exist at those addresses, and the date on the document corresponds to a time when your parents were out of the country." I watched Derek's face go pale. That's not possible." "Where did you get those documents, Derek?" I asked quietly. "Did you forge them yourself, or did Vanessa help?" "I don't have to answer that," Derek stammered. "Actually, you do," Detective Martinez said. "Derek Morrison, you're under arrest for forgery, fraud, and attempted theft of property. You have the right to remain silent." As the officer handcuffed Derek, Vanessa started screaming. "This is insane! We didn't do anything wrong!" "Ma'am, we'll need you to come to the station too," the second officer said. "You're listed as a co-conspirator on these documents." "Camille, please!" Vanessa suddenly grabbed my arm. "We can work this out. We'll split the house. 60-40? You can have the bigger share." I pulled away. "You kicked me out on Christmas Eve. You went through my things. You tried to steal my inheritance. Why would I work anything out with you?" "Because we're family," Derek shouted as the officer led him toward the police car. "Family doesn't forge documents," I said.
"Family doesn't commit fraud. You're not my family anymore." Robert handed me a key. "The locks have been changed. This house is secure, and we've filed an emergency injunction preventing any sale or transfer. You can move back in tomorrow." "What happens to them?" I asked Detective Martinez. "They'll be arraigned, probably released on bail," she explained. "But they're looking at serious charges. Forgery carries 2 to 5 years. Fraud adds another 3 to 7, plus restitution for any legal fees you've incurred." "Good," Aunt Patricia said, appearing beside me. "They deserve everything that's coming." As Derek and Vanessa were driven away in separate police cars, I stood in front of my family home, my home, and felt something I hadn't felt in 3 weeks. Peace. 2 months later, I sat in Robert Chen's office with Aunt Patricia as he explained the final settlement. "Derek took a plea deal," Robert said. "He's pleading guilty to 1 count of forgery and 1 count of attempted fraud. 3 years in prison, suspended to 18 months with 5 years probation." "And Vanessa?" I asked. "Same deal," Robert said. "She was the one who actually forged the signatures. She used to work at a law firm before Derek met her, had access to estate planning templates." "So it was all her idea?" Patricia asked. "According to Derek's testimony, yes," Robert confirmed. "She convinced him they deserved the house, said you were never around anyway, that your parents would have wanted them to have it." I shook my head. My parents would be devastated. "There's more," Robert said. As part of the plea agreement, they have to pay full restitution for all your legal fees, plus $50,000 in damages for emotional distress and unlawful eviction.
Can they even afford that? I asked.
They'll have to, Robert said. They already sold Vanessa's car and Derek's boat. They're working out a payment plan for the rest.
My phone buzzed. It was Detective Martinez.
Final paperwork ready. Can you come to the station?
An hour later, I stood in Detective Martinez's office as she handed me documents.
This is the restraining order, she explained. Neither Derek nor Vanessa can come within 500 feet of you or your property. It's valid for 5 years, renewable if needed.
Thank you, I said, for everything.
You did most of the work, Detective Martinez said. You kept records, stayed calm, worked with your attorney. A lot of victims don't do that. They get emotional and make mistakes.
I almost did, I admitted. That first night, I wanted to go back and scream at them.
But you didn't, she said. You chose the legal route. That's why you won.
As I left the police station, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered.
Camille, it's Derek. Please don't hang up.
I stopped walking. What do you want?
I'm so sorry, he said, his voice breaking. I know I screwed up. I know I hurt you. But we're family. Can't we try to fix this?
Fix what? I asked coldly.
The fact that you forged documents? The fact that you kicked me out on Christmas Eve? The fact that you tried to steal my inheritance?
I know, Derek said quickly.
But Vanessa, she pushed me. She made it seem like it was the right thing to do. I wasn't thinking clearly.
You're an adult, Derek, I said. You made choices. You don't get to blame Vanessa for everything.
I'm going to prison, Camille, he said desperately. 18 months. Please, can we at least talk before I go? I'm your brother.
You stopped being my brother when you forged those documents, I said.
You made your choice on Christmas Eve. Now live with it.
Please.
I hung up.
That evening, I sat in my living room, my legally secured, properly owned living room, with Aunt Patricia. We were putting up a new Christmas tree, even though it was February.
Better late than never, Patricia said, hanging an ornament. Your parents would want you to celebrate.
I can't believe it's really over, I said. That they're really gone.
From your life, yes, Patricia said, but not from facing consequences. Derek and Vanessa learned that actions have serious repercussions. You can't forge documents, steal property, and expect no punishment.
Part of me still can't believe Derek did this, I said. We used to be so close.
Greed changes people, Patricia said sadly. Vanessa saw dollar signs, and Derek saw an easy way to please her. But they forgot one important thing.
What's that?
You're not someone who gives up, Patricia said. You fought back the right way, through lawyers, through police, through the legal system. You didn't seek revenge. You sought justice.
And I got it, I said, looking around the room. I got my home back, my inheritance protected, and they're paying for what they did.
Patricia raised her wine glass. To justice, and to never letting anyone kick you out on Christmas Eve again.
I clinked my glass against hers.
To justice.
The next day, Robert Chen called with final news. The house title has been updated. Your name is sole owner now.
Derek signed over his half as part of the restitution agreement.
He what? I asked, stunned.
His attorney advised him to, Robert explained. It was either that or face additional civil lawsuits for unlawful eviction and emotional damages. This way, everything's settled.
So the house is mine? Completely mine?
Completely yours, Robert confirmed. Congratulations, Camille. You won. Have you ever faced family members who tried to steal your inheritance or kick you out of your own home? What would you have done in my situation? Like and subscribe for more stories about people who refused to be victims and fought back the right way.